Welcome to Sparta, where your first achievement is simply surviving the world's toughest job interview, being born. Congrats, you passed the initial screening. Your twin brother, not so much. See, in Sparta, babies don't get cute little future leader onesies. They get a full performance review by the Council of Elders. One quick look at your twin's below standard build and he gets the ancient equivalent of thank you for your application. A one-way trip to Mount Taygetos. Your first memory isn't of loving cuddles or soft blankets. It's your mother's stern face as she bathes you in wine instead of water. Sparta's first test of strength. They believe that the wine bath will either make you stronger or reveal weakness. Congratulations, you just passed your second performance review, and you're not even a month old. While other Greek babies are being showered with gifts and affection, you're getting the full Spartan premium package. Sleeping alone to handle darkness. No swaddling to toughen up those limbs, and absolutely no coddling. Your crib mobile? Probably a mini sword collection. Your lullaby? The sound of soldiers marching. Your first 7 years at home are basically an extended warm-up for the real fun that's coming. Forget toys and alphabet lessons. You got baby burpees and miniature military drills to master. Every time you complain about something being too hard, your mother just points at Mount Taygetos in the distance. Nothing ends a tantrum quite like a reminder that you're lucky to be having one at all. So enjoy these first 7 years, and we use enjoy very loosely here, because soon you'll be joining Sparta's innovative character building program, where the building materials are pain, discipline, and enough hardship to make modern military boot camp look like a luxury spa retreat. Happy 7th birthday. Instead of presents and cake, you get an eviction notice from your own home. Welcome to the Agoge, where character building means breaking you down to rebuild you as a proper Spartan, and orientation day is basically the Hunger Games, minus the fun parts. Your first day starts with getting your head shaved and being handed with what can generously be called clothing. One thin cloak that's supposed to last you all year. Spoiler alert, Sparta doesn't believe in seasonal wardrobes. Winter? Just another opportunity to prove you're not weak. Food becomes your new obsession, mainly because there's so little of it. The portions are deliberately small to encourage creative food acquisition. That's fancy Spartan talk for stealing. Just don't get caught, or you'll learn why Spartan discipline isn't a fun workout routine. Your new classmates, they're not your friends, they're your future battle unit. Imagine the most intense group project ever, where failing doesn't mean a bad grade, it means collective punishment. You learn real quick that teamwork makes the dream work isn't just a cute saying. It's the difference between eating and starving. Training dominates your life from dawn to dusk, interrupted only by lessons in music. Yes, really, Spartans believe it helps with battle coordination. Reading, just enough to understand orders, and how to reply to any question with the shortest possible answer. Spartans invented minimalism way before it was cool. This is just level 1 of your Spartan education game. Like every poorly designed video game, each level just gets harder, and there are no cheat codes or save points. Get some sleep on your bed of reeds. Tomorrow, you get to learn why they call it endurance training. And trust me, you'll need every ounce of rest you can get. Your teenage years bring a special upgrade. Welcome to Sparta's elite training program. Think of it as the world's first extreme boot camp, minus the motivational speeches and plus a whole lot more character building opportunities. Philosophy and poetry? That's for the soft kids in Athens. Food is now a full contact sport. The mess hall is basically an ancient version of Battle Royale, and your daily food allowance is so small they might as well have called it a food suggestion. Stealing isn't just encouraged, it's practically part of the curriculum. Just don't get caught unless you enjoy public beatings as a side dish. Speaking of public spectacles, let's talk about everyone's favorite annual event. The whipping contest at the altar of Artemis Orthia. Come one, come all, to witness teenagers competing to see who can endure the most lashes without making a sound. Some contestants have literally died trying to win. Talk about dedication to the craft. Your training gets serious too. No more wooden swords, now you're working with the real deal. Those battle formations drills you learned as a kid, now you do them while people are actively trying to stab you. Your one cloak is still your only protection against the elements, because apparently Spartan warriors need to be weatherproof. But here's the real fun part. You're starting to glimpse your future role in the Cryptea. Those upperclassmen who disappeared for days at a time, you're about to learn what they were really doing. Well, that's the story for your next life chapter. assuming you survive puberty, Spartan style. Because in Sparta, teenage rebellion isn't about sneaking out to parties. It's about secretly hoping for a day without a near-death experience. Congratulations on reaching your 20s. Time to enter the most secretive phase of Spartan life, the Crypteia. Think of it as ninja training meets state security. Except failure means more than just a career setback. Starting a family and business can wait. You've got some night stalking to do. Your new uniform? It makes your previous one-cloak wardrobe look luxurious. Minimal clothing, basic sandals, and just a small dagger. You're dressed for success, Spartan stealth style. The winter winds cut right through your thin garments as you move through the countryside like a shadow. Turns out there's a reason they call it bare minimum equipment. Emphasis on the bare. Home is now wherever you can hide without being spotted. Sleeping happens during the day, hidden in caves or undergrowth. Nighttime is for maintaining social order through means that would make modern HR departments faint. The helots know you're out there, which is exactly the point. Oh, and somewhere in between all of this, you're expected to get married. Don't get too excited, you still can't live with your wife. Try explaining to her why you keep disappearing at night half naked with a dagger. It's definitely not your typical newlywed phase. The best part? Lifestyle comes with zero creature comforts. No warm beds, no hot meals, no shelter during storms. Your performance metrics include ability to survive winter without footwear, and effectiveness at appearing and disappearing like a ghost. But hey, you're almost at full citizenship. Just a few more years of this character building exercise and you'll finally get to live like a normal person. Well, as normal as life gets in Sparta. Congratulations, you've hit the big 3-0, which in Sparta means you finally get your full citizenship card. After 23 years of training, surviving, and proving yourself, you've earned the right to keep serving Sparta, with just slightly better living conditions. It's like getting a promotion where your main reward is more responsibility. Finally, you can move out of the barracks and live at home. But don't get too excited. You're still expected to show up for military duties and public meals. Think of it as having a permanent on-call job where the phone is always ringing. Except instead of a phone, it's a messenger telling you to grab your spear. Those famous Spartan men's dining clubs, they're not exactly your friendly neighborhood potluck. Every meal is a performance review. And if you can't afford your share of the infamous black broth soup, you could lose your citizenship faster than you can say, "Check please." Now, you need to manage your land while supervising helots and staying battle ready. Can't work the land yourself, that would be beneath your dignity. And retirement? That's not an option until you're 60, assuming you live that long. Because whether you're 30 or 59, when those war horns blow, you better be ready to march. So here you are, at Thermopylae, age 45, standing with King Leonidas and your fellow Spartans. The Persian army ahead of you is so massive it drinks rivers dry. But hey, this is what all those years of character building were for, right? Talk about a final performance review. When the Persian messenger demands you surrender your weapons, Leonidas drops the most legendary red receipt in history. Come and take them. Classic Spartan energy. Why use 20 words when 3 will start a war just fine? Looking around at your battle buddies, you realize something interesting. All those brutal years of training weren't just about you turning into walking weapons. They were about creating an unbreakable bond between men who'd rather die standing than live kneeling. Though let's be honest, Spartans never learned how to kneel anyway. Bad for the posture. As the Persians' arrows literally block out the sun, someone makes peak Spartan small talk. Good news, we'll be fighting in the shade. And you laugh. Not because it's funny. Okay, it's a little funny. But because this is what Sparta built you for. Turning certain death into dark humor. That's basically the national sport. In your final moments, it hits you. This isn't about winning anymore. It's about showing the world what sacrifice looks like when it's wearing a really cool red cape. Your stand here isn't just about stopping Persians. It's about inspiring every Greek city-state to get off their philosophical backsides and actually unite for once. They'll tell stories about this day, probably with way better special effects than the reality. But they'll get one thing right. This wasn't just about 300 guys with great abs making a last stand. It was about showing the world that some things are worth dying for. Even if those things include really uncomfortable sandals and questionable fashion choices. So here's the final lesson from your Spartan life. Sometimes the biggest victory isn't in surviving, but in showing others how to live. And if you're going to go out, might as well do it in a way that people will be making movies about 2,500 years later. Not bad for someone who started life with a wine bath and a performance evaluation, right?